the question is, why is he content with sin, right? And who is the he?
Like you said, repeat the question.
Who is the he? Who's content with sin?
Moses.
Oh, okay. All right. Before I even go there, I'll tell you he ain't. Let's get that. We just got to figure out what your question is. All right. So what I'll do is we'll go ahead and get Mario's question, and then I'll answer your question. First of all, it's Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Back in 1969, we under commanding General Yohana, Priest and Officer Kazak Damar, ISUPK Jacksonville, Florida. Well, ISUPK North Florida. Lord allow. All right, this Truth 101 class every Monday night, giving you the basics of what we teach. Hold on, let me get this a little bit closer so y'all can hear me. Giving you the basics of what we teach here in the ISUPK, in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. All right, so we had one brother, he had a question. And what was your question again, Mario?
I was asking, did David, after David killed Goliath, did he become king after he did that, or after Saul, when he didn't do what he's supposed to do?
It was both. It's after both of them. If you can give me First Samuel chapter 16, right, and hold it for a second.
Verse 1, other one.
Just hold that whole chapter real quick. I'm gonna give it to you. Hold on 1 second. Also, somebody else, one of the priests. Hold on. Let's see here. One of the priests give me First Samuel chapter 17. This making me think I might be wrong. I might be wrong. We're going to go into the scriptures and find out. What the scriptures say is, let God be true and every man be a lie. All right? So what it says in the scriptures, that's what the answer is. And that's the thing about my job. I don't have to be the smartest man in the world, but I do have to go to the scriptures and find the answers, because in this book they call the Bible is the answer to everything you're going to need in life. It don't matter what the situation is. It don't matter, what predicament you dealing with. You can go into these words of the Most High and find out what you're supposed to be doing, what you're not supposed to do, how you handle it, what happened. This is our history. All right. So, also I need one more thing. Give me, All right, so let's go with First Samuel 15. All right, so we're gonna do all three of these in a row. Let's start at First Samuel 15. Brother's question is, did David become king after he killed Goliath, or after Saul did what he did? My answer is, it's in the scriptures. I have to find which one happened first, but I did think at first, and that's why we don't do that too much in the school. We don't think, we don't be presumptuous. We go and see in the scriptures that happened after. I thought that David killed Goliath before he was king, but I believe we're gonna find out in the scriptures he killed Goliath after he was king. So let's go to First Samuel chapter 15. Let's go to verse. 18. Let's start there. All right. Whenever you're ready, Mario.
This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15 and verse 18. And the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Salakia. Wherefore, then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but didst fly upon the spoil, and didst evil in the sight of the Lord.
So this is Samuel, right? Samuel was basically the voice of the Lord. He was the priest, right? And his job was to make sure that the kings had a voice of the Lord in their ear. He was the one who anointed them king. He was given that duty by the Most High. All right. And if you go back and you read about Samuel's husband had a couple of wives, and the other sister used to pick on Sam mama, like, oh, you can't have no baby. She had plenty of babies for his father. Finally, the Lord blessed her with Samuel. So out of all his kids, you know what I'm saying, that he had, the Lord used the one from the woman that could not have a child to be the one of the priests over Israel at the time. All right. So he's telling Saul about what he did wrong, about the thing that he did that he should not have done in the sight of the Lord. The Lord told him to go and destroy all the Amalekites, right? Utterly destroy them and fight against them until they are consumed. Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but didst fly unto spoil and did evil in the sight of the Lord. So Samuel is telling Saul, you thought you was doing what the Lord said, but you did it your own way, right? Here's the thing we got to understand about the Lord. If he tell you to do something this way, do it that way. Don't do it your own way and be like, I did what the Lord told me to do, but you did it in your own way. It's like you don't trust that what the Lord is telling you is right and exact. It's the same thing with the men above you. If Moses was over the children of Israel and Moses said, do it this way, you're supposed to do it that way. Else you are now out on your own. You are not in a position where the Lord is going to protect you, because what he told you to do and the way he told you to do it, well, you decided to do whatever you wanted to do. Who was the first person in the Bible that did that? Somebody tell me. Go ahead.
Adam.
Wrong. Anybody else want to take a stab at it?
Salakia, is it Most High?
Let me re-ask the question. Maybe I asked the question wrong. What we read about here in 1 Samuel chapter 15 is the Lord told Saul to go in and destroy everything dealing with the Amalekites. Don't take no spoil, set it all on fire, get rid of it. Right? They saw some beautiful things in that city, and some men took it. And this was his sin. Now, he did go and destroy the Amalekites, just like the Lord told him. But he did it his own way. He didn't do it the way that the Lord said to do it. So, therefore, he did it his own way and went against what the Lord said. My question was, who was the first person in the Bible to do that?
Salakia.
Go ahead.
Was it Cain?
Nope. I give one more person a shot at it. Go ahead. Eve. Precept.
Genesis 1. They was in the garden.
It's an even better one than that. That ain't the one I'm thinking of. You could go to the story, yeah, of course. Nobody know?
Salakia. I know the precept, I don't know it.
Just tell me what it say.
It was the woman was the first to transgress the law
Absolutely.
or something like
that. That is it's in the Ecclesiasticus. No, go ahead. Somebody got it.
I think it's in if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to right quick. I know it's not in the Ecclesiastes.
You know it's not there.
I know it's not there. It's in.
Oh man.
Right,
yeah, I think I got it out. Give me 1 second. Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 verse 24. Somebody tell me what that say. Nobody got the scripture? Hold on 1 second. Officers is in the building. Report. Who's in? What officers is in here? Who is that? Who is I? Who is I'm here? Who is that? All right, Shakar. I got you. I understand. Ain't no other officers in here? Officer Shagar is the only officer in here? No sweat. All right. Troopers. Report. What troopers is in here?
Trooper Mashamar.
I got you. That's it? Trooper Mashamar is the only trooper in here. No sweat. All right. Go ahead. Whoever said they had the scripture.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, 25 verse 26. If she go not, as thou wouldest
24. 25 and 24. Start at 20. Start at 23.
Chapter 25, verse 23. A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh a heavy countenance, and a wounded heart. A woman that will not confront her husband in distress, maketh weak hands and feeble knees. Of the woman come the beginning of sin.
Read it again.
Of the woman came the beginning of sin.
Of the woman came the beginning of sin. What is a sin? 1 John 3 and 5. Transgression of the law. Not doing what the Lord said. Eve was the first person to do it. Who was the second person? Sister already said it. It was Adam. Now, if the Lord didn't talk to Eve, he didn't tell Eve what to do. How did she sin against what the Lord said to do? Go ahead.
I found the scripture I was looking for.
All right, no sweat. 1 second. If the Lord didn't tell Eve what to do, how did she sin against doing what the Lord said to do? Go ahead.
Because Adam, she got instructions from Adam.
What y'all have to
He
understand
went
is
against Adam.
the Lord always has a mediator. You ain't got no personal relationship with God. You have to listen to a nigga. You have to listen to a man. If you're a woman that's not married, it's the priest. If you're a woman that's married, it's your husband. Saul got the word of the Lord from the prophets. Samuel and it was another prophet that told him what the Lord said to do. Exactly the same way Adam told Eve, and he did exactly what Eve did. Did whatever he wanted to do. All right, I got you. I'm going to do it this way. I tell people all the time, don't con out of one con me and then not do it. You might as well just say, man, I ain't listening to that what you talking about. I'm not going to do it. I don't feel like it's the right thing to do. Let's have a conversation about it beforehand. But don't give me no con out of one con just for the sake of, and then go and do what you want to do. That's what Saul did. That's what Eve did. Everybody understand? All right, so let's go back to the story. I just wanted to make that point real quick. People will hear the voice of the Lord and still do what they want to do. Well, this is what happened with Saul. Samuel is getting on Saul about. He said, "Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Most High, but didst fly upon the spoil and did evil in the sight of the Lord?" It might be seen like it's a light thing to Saul. Saul said it up there. If you go up to verse 15 to 16 or something like that, he's like, "Yo, they dead. I destroyed them." You know what I'm saying? But then Samuel like, "Hold on, wait. The Lord said do it this way. Did you do it that way? Did you do it that way?" Because he ain't think it was a big deal that they took some of the spoil. Well, you got to do what the Lord said. You got to do it exactly the way he says do it. Whether it's coming from a priest, whether it's coming from your husband, a man above you, whatever the case may be, when the Lord is speaking to you and telling you to do it another way, he says, like, my understanding ain't your understanding. My thoughts are not like your thoughts. So you don't understand why things need to be done all the time the way the Lord say do it, but do it that way anyway. You'll get it later. All right, I think I got that point out. Now, verse 20, right? Go ahead, Mario.
First Samuel, chapter 15 and verse 20. And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the
Amalekites.
Lucky. But the people took of the spoil, sheep, oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Galilee.
Now he sound like Adam right there. This woman you gave me, she started it. This is what he's saying. We went in and did what the Lord said, but some of the people, they just decided to do this. Now, who's in charge? Who's the king? Go ahead.
It is Saul, right?
Okay, so whose responsibility is it to make sure that these people do what the Lord say do?
King Saul.
Right. The Lord gave him the power to do it and the responsibility. No different than the Lord gave the man the power to do it and the responsibility. So even if Eve sinned, when she came to her husband with that, what he should have done is checked her and correct her on what the Lord said to do. And then he could have said, okay, your woman went against it, but you did what I told you to do. These men went against it. Saul should have made sure that they did what he said to do and utterly destroy these things. Everybody follow me. This is a big deal. This ain't nothing light. But it is to Saul. Go ahead to verse 22.
Verse 22. And Saul said, Have sacrifice and to hearken in the fat of rams.
Now this is kind of deep right here, especially when you go into Christianity. The reason why is because Christ is our sacrifice now, right? So if Christ is our sacrifice, it's no different than us having a ram or a bullock or something like that. Okay? Now that we got the sacrifice, what's more important than the sacrifice? Go ahead.
Obeying the force of the Lord.
Obeying the force. So even though you have the sacrifice and the opportunity to be cleansed by Christ, you still got to do what the Lord say do. It ain't no way around that. Everybody understand? All right, I just wanted to make sure we got that point. Now, what it say in First Samuel, chapter 22, and Samuel said, "Have the Most High as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Most High? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken the fat of rams." So this is what Saul did wrong. This is in chapter 15. Let's go to chapter 16. Chapter 16. Let's see. Verse. Let's see. See where we want to start at. Go ahead and start at verse 1 and we'll skip down so we can get the context. If any other officer is in here besides Shakar, let me know. Go ahead, Mario.
Verse 1. And the Lord said unto Samuel, How long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil, and go. I will send thee to Jesse, the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons.
All right, so as it goes, Samuel goes to Jesse. Jesse brings his sons, right? And go to verse 10. He bringing all his sons out. He like, okay, this the one? Nah, that ain't the one. This the one? That ain't the one. He brought the strongest ones out. He brought the ones that looked the best. He brought the ones that he thought operated like a king, right? Go to verse 10.
Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel saw unto Jesse.
Read that again.
Say it unto Jesse. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to go pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, The Lord hath not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Are here all thy children? And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither.
Yeah, bring him. Let me see him, because you done showed me all the rest of them, and the Lord didn't tell me that they were supposed to be the king. So I ain't going to chill out. I'm not going to stop looking until you bring him. All right, go ahead.
And he sent and brought him in. Now, he was ruddy and without of all beauty, countenance, and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he.
Saul said it, or Samuel said it, or Jesse said it. No. It says, and he sent and brought him. Now he was ready, and that word "ready," you know what I mean? Like he's a clean cut, laid back, light skinned brother. Know what I'm saying? He's a what we would call in the world a pretty boy. David's a pretty boy, right? He over there keeping the sheep. He ain't never bring him, like, he's not a warrior. He ain't the one that the Lord is choosing. That's what his daddy thinking. Well, the priest told him something different. Just like you might have been soft or weak in the world, but with the Spirit of the Lord on you, you become a warrior, right? And the Lord said, Rise, anoint him, for this is him. This is he. Go ahead to verse 13.
Verse 13. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from the day forth. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah.
All right. Keep going.
But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him.
There we go. Let's start right there. So, verse 1 or 2 in this chapter is when David became king. Before Saul ever went there, the Lord told him, one of Jesse's sons, I already chose to be the king. Now you go and find him and anoint him and make it. The oil is symbolic of what had already happened, what the Lord had already said. It's no different than if I take my officer, or if a brother take his officer's test in Jacksonville, and the brother that's going to raise him up is in Miami. He might not get that oil. He passed that test, and the Lord says that he's able to be a priest. Even whether he get that oil or not, he's already have the duty and the responsibility of the priest. Now that oil just is symbolic to make it official for the other people. Everybody understand? Okay, so this is when David became the king. Let's go to verse, and you notice what it say happened to Saul. The Spirit of the Lord went on David, and the Lord put an evil spirit on Saul. Okay. Now let's go to the next one, chapter 17. Let's see here. Verse. Let's see where I want to start at. Eight, maybe? Boom, 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 boom. All right, so if y'all ever heard this story before, they sent a bunch of men to go kill this Philistine named Goliath, right? Go ahead and start at verse 8. And basically Goliath took out all the men they sent to go kill him. So everybody's scared, everybody shook. And then this is what happened. Go ahead and read at verse 8, Mario.
This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17 and verse 8. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them, Why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am not I a Palestine? And ye servants to Saul. Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants.
So this is what the Philistine, this is what Goliath is saying. If you kill me, then everybody else is going to serve you because I'm the biggest, baddest nigga in biggest, baddest Philistine on the planet. So get rid of me, and then y'all be good. But don't come like no punk. Send the man down here and go so that he can kill. If he want it, basically what he's saying, he want all the smoke. All right, keep going. Go ahead to verse 11. Go ahead to verse 11 now, for the sake of time.
Verse 11. When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistines, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now David was the son of that Ephraimite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse. And he had 8 sons, and the man went among men for old man in the days of Saul. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to the battle. And the names of his 3 sons that went to the battle were Eliab, the first son, and the next unto him,
Abinadab,
and the third
Shema, right.
And David was the youngest, and the third eldest, the 3 elders followed Saul. But David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistines drew near morning and evening, and presented himself 40 days. And Jesse saw unto David his son, said, Salaki, take now for thee brethren, Ephraim of the parched corn, and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to thy brethren.
All right, so stop right there. Go down to verse 24.
Verse 24.
Oh, let me explain what happened. David was back home tending to the sheep, and his dad told him to go and take his brothers some food. You know what I'm saying? They going out to fight this Philistine. He never intended on David going to do it. Keep going.
Verse 24. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, flee from him and were sore afraid.
Oh, these niggas is scared. Keep going.
And the men of Israel said, have you seen this man that is come up? Surely to defile Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and he give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall we do? What shall be done to the men that kill up the Philistine, and take up away the reproach from Israel?
So David like, hold on, wait. What y'all scared? What they saying? What are they offering to kill this Philistine? Go ahead.
For who is the uncircumcised Philistine?
Who is this fool?
That he should be.
Go ahead.
That he should defy the armies of the living God.
Man, he ain't nobody compared to the Most High. He ain't who is he to be talking against the Most High? Go ahead.
And the people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man
All right, so go ahead now. His brother felt some type of way. You know what I'm saying? If you go down to verse 30, it 33, it Saul said unto David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight him. Thou art but a youth, and he is a man. Now think about this. David was already anointed by Samuel when he was a child, but Saul was still the king, right? But the Lord took his spirit away from Saul and gave it to David. So he was not yet the king here. He's serving his father still until he's of age. You always had, it's no different. Like if you look at the Lion King or something like that, whatever, that's the best example I could think of off the top of my head. They knew who was going to be the king. It was Scar's son, but he wasn't old enough to take the reins. So when Saul went in and met David and anointed him with the oil, and the Lord said that's going to be the king, and he took his spirit away from Saul and gave it to David, he didn't become the king yet because he was still a young. He was still too young. You understand, Mario? So he's still a youth right now, and all these cats that up under Saul is scared to go and fight against this. Even Samuel and Saul, and David saying to Saul, like, go ahead, who is this dude think he is, or whatever the case may be. And Saul saying to him, you know what I'm saying, you're just a child. You cannot go and defeat this Philistine. I had some of my strongest men that are afraid of him. So you go through the story. They finally give David a chance, an opportunity, and go ahead to verse 40, and we'll go there. We've spent a lot of time on it, but it's information inside history, so it ain't no problem with it. Go ahead.
Verse 40. And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth rocks out of the brook.
Is that what it say? That's what your Bible say? Read it again.
And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook.
That's what mine said. Go ahead.
And put them in the shepherd's bag, which he had even in a scrap, and his sling was in his hand. And he drew near to the Palestine. And the Palestine came on and drew near unto David.
That word is Philistine.
And the Philistine, Slakia. And the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he distrained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of a fair countenance.
What he basically said is, why y'all bring this oh yeah, that's so cute. Y'all send this little boy out here to come fight me. Y'all tripping. Y'all send a cute little kid out here to come fight me. Go ahead and go verse 43.
And the Philistine said unto David, I am a dog.
No, read that again. He said unto David, what?
And the Philistine said, the Philistine said unto David, am I a dog, that thou comest to me with
staves? Staves.
And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. And the Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give you thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field.
Now he like, if you gonna come on down here, I'm gonna give you everything you want, and we're gonna feed you to the buzzards. What that means? He's like, come on down here and die and become bird food. All right, and let the lions and the animals get you, cause you gonna die. Go ahead to verse 45.
Verse 45. Then said David to the Philistine, thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defiled.
Oh yeah, you done went against my God. You crazy. You done lost your mind. Go ahead.
This day will the Lord deliver thee into thy hand, and I will smite thee and take
Go ahead, and we don't want to see. Just skip to the part where they get the killing. So it said, verse 49.
Verse 49. And David put his hand in his bag and took thence a smooth and a stone, flocky, and slang it, and smite the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine.
All right.
And slew him.
All right. So the answer to the question was exactly what I said at first. No, David became the king after Saul sinned against the Lord and after he slew the Philistine. Because what this did was make him close to Saul, man. Like he Saul's right-hand man from now on. Eventually the Lord is going to take the kingdom away from Saul, which he already was doing. But the Lord already had put in place a plan for a successor to a terrible king. You understand? All right. Did I answer your question? All right. Most High in Christ. All right. To the sister's question, you said it was in Genesis. What? Any officers besides Shakar in the class now? All right, go ahead, sis.
It was Leviticus chapter 10, 19, and 20.
Leviticus chapter 10, and the question was, why was Moses okay with somebody sinning? Is that what you said? Something like that? All right. 10 and 19. Oh, why was he content is what you said, right? All right. Let me get. No, I feel like I don't know. I feel some type of way about this. You mean to tell me there's no officers in the class? No officers. If you're an officer in the class, speak up now. Besides Shakar. All right, Most High in Christ. Marsha Moore, I want you to read this for me, all right? Any troopers besides Marsha Moore in the class? Niggas celebrating President's Day or something? What's wrong with it? All right, that's cool. I'm here. Yeah, go ahead and start at verse 16. Start at verse 14. Start at, who is it? Huh?
What was the chapter?
Oh, it's Leviticus chapter 10, verse 10. Oh, man.
And start at verse 13?
Start at verse 10.
Leviticus chapter 10, verse 10. And that ye may put difference between holy and unholy, and between unclean and clean.
This is where he's giving. One second. This is where Moses is giving the children of Israel some of these laws as far as the Levitical priesthood, how it's supposed to go, what the Lord said, and he's telling them, do not drink wine or strong drink. thou nor thy sons with thee when you go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest you die. It should be a statute forever throughout your generations. What this means is when you got at the temple at that point in time with the Levitical priesthood, or whatever the case may be, when you went into a certain part to go and to deal with the sins of the people and your own sins into the holiest of holies before the Most High, you were expected to be sober. You shouldn't deal with strong drink and all of that or whatever um, when you're doing a certain part of the job of the priest. All right. This was not when you were talking or speaking to the people. It was more so when you were dealing with the Most High. Go ahead to verse 11.
Come. And that ye may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which the Most High has spoken unto them by the hand of Moses.
Go ahead.
And Moses spake unto Aaron, and unto Eleazar, and unto Ithamar, his sons that were left, remaineth of the offerings of the Most High made by fire.
Take the meat offering that remaineth. You skip some. Read it over.
And Moses spake unto Aaron, and unto Eleazar, and unto Ithamar, his sons that were left. Take the meat offering that remaineth of the offerings of the Most High, made by fire, and eat it without leaven beside the altar, for it is most holy. And ye shall eat it in the holy place, because it is thy due, and thy sons due.
Drop down to verse 16.
Come. And Moses diligently sought the goat of the sin offering, and behold, it was burnt. And he was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Aaron, which were left alive, saying, Wherefore have ye not eaten the sin offering in the holy place, seeing it is most holy, and the Most High has given it you to bear the iniquity of the congregation, to make atonement for them before the Most High.
Hold on one second. I think verse 14 is very important. Let's go back up.
Verse 14. And the wave breast and heave shoulder shall ye eat, a clean plate.
Read that again.
And the wave breast and heave shoulder shall ye eat in a clean place. Thou and thy sons and thy daughters with thee, for they be thy due, and thy sons due, which are given out of sacrifices of peace offering of the children of Israel.
So what they did is they were supposed to give these offerings, the offerings that these people gave, right? They were supposed to be sacrificed unto the Lord. But remember, Levi had no inheritance as far as the land. He had no inheritance as far as cattle, none of that. His job was to do the work of the Lord. So the priests would have these offerings would be what they ate, right? But there was certain places that they were supposed to eat them. There were certain people they were supposed to eat them with, certain times where they weren't supposed to eat them with nobody. All this and all of that is written down in the book of Leviticus, and this is what we're talking about. So he's telling them this right now, right? Did you, we at verse 15 again, right? We already read that. The heave shoulder and the wave brace shall thou bring with the offerings made by fire of the fat, to wave it for a wave offering before the Lord. So they take this is what the people brought, they wave it up, and it shall be thine and thy sons with thee by a statute forever as the Lord commanded. All right, now we go back to verse 16.
And Moses diligently sought the goat of the sin offering, and behold, it was burnt. And he was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Aaron, which were left alive, saying, Wherefore have ye not eaten the sin offering in the holy place, seeing it is most holy, and the Most High has iniquity of the congregation to make atonement for them before the Lord.
So here's the thing, right? Them as the priesthood, Levitical priesthood, they have an obligation to do certain things. Us as a priest, when we doing the Sabbath service, we go up, you know what I'm saying? It's a tradition that we take a glass and we raise it to Israel. La Yasha'Allah means to Israel. We do certain things. We blow the shapar. We read in the Hebrew. We do certain prayers. Some of these things are things that we do out of tradition, but there are things that are supposed to be done out of the law. And with Leviticus, a lot of this is based on the priesthood, the things that the priests were supposed to do. They were supposed to eat these sacrifices and not let them stay there, because them eating the sacrifice was a reputation of them going before the Lord and taking those things offered to the Lord. So if they didn't eat them, basically, like, it's like the Lord never took it. Okay? So these sacrifices were given, and now Moses is finding them like, why y'all never ate them as the priest? Because these are what the people are giving to bear their iniquity, to make atonement before the Lord. Read verse 18.
Oh God, behold, the blood of it is not brought in within the holy place. You should indeed have eaten it in the holy place, as I commanded.
You should have did what I told you to do, the way I told you to do it, because that's what the Lord told me to tell you. It's the same thing. It's the same thing that's going on that we just talked about with Saul. All right? Verse 19.
And Aaron said unto Moses, behold, this day have they offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Most High, and such things have befallen me. And if I had eaten the sin offering today, should it have been accepted in the sight of the Most High? And when Moses heard that, he was content.
Okay. It says what Aaron is saying to Moses is, and Aaron says, behold, this day have they offered their sin offering and their burnt offerings before the Lord. And these things fell upon me. And if I had eaten the sin offering today, should it have been accepted in the sight of the Lord? So the reason Moses was content when he said that is because he knew that his right-hand man, the one that spoke to Israel, right? He understood the importance of doing the things that the Lord said. These other brothers did not, right? And Moses was wroth with them. Moses was pissed off with them. But when his right-hand man, Aaron, says to them, behold, like basically what he's saying is, from now on, I'll make sure it get done if they don't. You understand, sis?
So he's taking responsibility for their failures.
To an extent, it's basically like you gotta understand, like, let's say for instance a brother in the school does something wrong, right? And General Mahaiman, who is second to General Yohana, says to him, don't worry, I'll make sure it gets taken care of properly the next time. And General Yohana is he's content with that. You got it? He wasn't content with their sin. He was content with what Aaron said to him. Basically, like, I'll take responsibility. I understand how it's supposed to be done. Any other questions? Go ahead.
That kind of like took me back to the, like, because the way you explained it was exactly how I was imagining it. But when it comes to the last breakdown you just gave with Adam and Eve, when the Most High confronted both of them, and was that part of Adam wrong? Like, he didn't accept that? Like, he didn't do that? He was just like, man, that woman you gave
Nah, nah. Adam's wrong. Salaki, Adam's wrong was the same thing as Saul's wrong. When the moment he seen that his rib didn't do what the Lord said to do, he should have corrected that. He should have checked that woman for not following the voice of the Lord. Saul, the moment he seen them men going against exactly what the Lord said, he should have corrected them. That's why he's given the authority to do it. To protect them men that's under him from death. If we got a bunch of leaders that's over us who is going to compromise the word of the Lord for our feelings, they don't deserve to be over me. I don't want no leader like that who gonna let me get away with sinning against the Lord, because there's a greater authority than this particular leader that will destroy me. You understand? Adam didn't correct Eve. Adam partook in the sin as well. Saul didn't correct the men under him. He partook in it. What Aaron is saying is, I see where they were wrong, and I'll make sure it don't happen again. That's a difference. I see where Eve is wrong, and I'll make sure she never does that again. I see where these men are wrong, and I'll make sure they correct it and they never do it again. Somebody can come into this school and come to class and pretend like they changing their life for the Lord and go out and sin against God, right? There's nothing we can do about that. The problem is if our leadership pretends as if it's not happening. You see the difference? You see the difference? Right. If we don't get corrected, that's the thing. Brothers gonna come in here and they gonna mess up and all this. We trying to get it right amongst being up under the curses, amongst dealing with all the things we done been taught that was wrong, amongst us being in this hell and serving our oppressor and doing all these other things. We trying to get it right. So yeah, sometimes, in the scriptures it say a just man follows 7 times. Here's the thing. He needs to be corrected, checked, punished, everything every time he fall, or he ain't never gonna get it together. Did I answer your question, Marshamar? All right, Most High Christ. Any other questions? Any other questions? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, other one. Leviticus 18 and 21. What is the fire of Molech?
Somebody get me Molech in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. All right. So there was it's a reason we refer to the Most High as the Most High, right? There are other small g gods. When I say small g, when you look in the Bible, it's talking about the power of Israel, the creator of heaven and earth. It uses a capital G, and sometimes it uses a capital G, capital O, capital D, but in the Hebrew, it would be the Lord's name or the Most High's name, meaning Yahweh, right? It's been translated into English. That word will be put there as God or whatever the case may be. But here's the point. Sometimes you'll see in the scriptures lowercase g, lowercase o, lowercase d, or God or gods. This is the way that it describes these other nations' gods. The Chinese man has a god, right? The white man has a god. The Africans have gods. 600 of them. But none of them are powers that rule the earth. So when you're talking about our God, we refer to him as the Most High Power. Remember in the scriptures that we read last week, I believe it is. Somebody can go pull it. I believe it's Psalms 110. Somebody go get that real quick, and we'll explain it. Psalms 110. Let me make sure that's what it is. Somebody got Molech? Go ahead.
If I may, you saying that the other nations have their own god, like a demigod or whatnot, and so whenever we get eventually to the future in New Jerusalem and everything, everybody is supposed to serve the Most High, right? So all those other gods are done away with.
Okay. If you look at the Bible, what happened is the Lord gave the other nations their land and they could do whatever they wanted to, and he gave the children of Israel their land and he gave them laws to govern their land and to rule over the other nations. Because we didn't never follow our laws that were given to us, the other nations came in and took our land and ruled over us. And now once we started, now we serve their gods. This is supposed to be the Chinese God, but you have blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians serving this God. This is supposed to be the white man God, and you have a black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian serving the God. You understand what I'm saying? When we supposed to be serving our God. Now, of course, because now the Lord is in His infinite wisdom has seen that as long as those other gods exist, the children of Israel will prefer their gods to Him. So what must He do in order to make sure that they only serve Him? That was a question.
I don't know.
Give me Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 4. Somebody, real quick. Real quick. And that was Psalms 82. It wasn't Psalms 110. Go ahead, whoever got it.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 4. For they will turn away thy son.
Go to verse 2.
Following.
Go to verse 2.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 2. And when the Most High, thy power, shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them.
Go to verse 5. Yep. So this is what he's told. This is what he told Saul. When you go in here, smite them and utterly destroy them. Go ahead to verse 5.
But thus shall ye deal with them.
This is how you deal. This is how you deal with these other nations. Now remember, if you read this 1 through 4, which I'm skipping right now for the sake of time, he told us to go in when he gonna remove nations mightier than us out of this land and give it to us, right? And what we got to do is destroy them. Utterly destroy them. Do not make no marriages with them. Do not make no treaties with them. Why? Because once you marry them, you start to love them and you're going to love their God. The example would be Solomon. All right? This is why he said don't make no marriages with them. Now, this is how you're going to deal with them, is what he said. Read from the top again, verse 5.
But thus shall ye deal with them.
This is how you deal with them.
You shall destroy their altar.
You shall break down their altars. Go ahead.
And break down their images.
And take down their images.
And cut down their groves.
And cut down their groves. So they had trees and statues and images erected because most of these other powers or gods were idols. They were idols. So you have a goat head, a dog head. If you look at Egypt, it's a good example. If you look at the Roman Catholic Church and all these different goats and all these different things they got erected, and you know what I'm saying, you go to what was the other thing, the golden calf that they created in the wilderness based out of what they got out of Egypt. All of these were idols, and the Lord is saying what you have to do is destroy them. All right, because just like what they say of Nimrod with this tree, that you go, you better take this tree presence so that he will be happy with you and not kill you. Well, the Lord had to come And Jeremiah telling that tree can't do nothing to you. It don't walk, it don't eat, it don't do nothing. You gotta dress it. If you don't dress it and stand it upright, it ain't gonna do nothing. So how can you be afraid of this? And then they would go and make a statue, let's say like a Buddha or a Shiva or something like that. And then they would erect and give gifts and worship these statues. But the children of Israel's God is an invisible power. We don't need no image. That's why we got an image now of Christ, who they say is God, is because that's not our God. Our power is the creator of heaven and earth, and we don't need an image for that. You follow me, sis? So this is why the Lord said, tear them down. Destroy these. And what's going to happen when Yahushua is ruling and Keto, to make sure that it doesn't happen, they will have to serve our God. They can't serve their own God no more. Because when they had the opportunity to do it, Israel, being just as simple and stiff-necked as they want to be, decided that we would rather serve their gods over ours. Right? Real quick, I get the precept on it. Psalms 82:1. Who got it? Go ahead.
You said Psalms 82 or 83?
It's 82.
82, okay. 82:1. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 82 and verse 1. God standeth in the congregation of mighty. He judges among the gods.
The Most High, the Most High, which is capital G, capital O, capital D, stands in the congregation of the mighty, and he judges amongst the gods. Here you got to understand, you have powers, right? In my house, I am the power. I am the voice of the Most High. I am the most powerful person in my house, thus given that privilege and that opportunity and that responsibility by the Most High, right? In the school, there are men above me. They are more powerful than I am, right? That word God translates into Elohim, and it just means powers. You have powers within the earth, kings, presidents, prime ministers, and all of this other. They are powers within the earth, but they are nothing compared to the gods of heaven. Well, our God sits amongst the mighty. All these so-called demigods or whatever the case may be that are nothing in the sight of the Most High, and they're only created to rule over the other nations, should never rule over the children of Israel. All right? So they're not gods at all when it comes to our God, because of the power and might that he has. But these idols, these so-called gods, I'm using air quotations, so-called gods, they exist, but they are nothing compared to our power. You understand? All right, Molech was one of them. One of the gods that the children of Israel followed after. I believe it was, I'm going to let whoever got it in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, go ahead and read it. Go ahead and let Marsha Moore read it up. And you stay right there. Matter of fact, yeah, just let Marsha Moore read it real quick. Go ahead, Trooper.
Molech, heathen god, worshipped especially by Ammonites, by sacrifice of children, worship forbidden the Israelites.
Okay.
Of worship.
Okay, nah, that's all I needed. What I wanted to find out, I was about to say he was a Canaanite god, but it says worshipped by Ammon, right? Ammonite. The Ammonites, one of the idols that the Ammonites had was Molech. And what Molech did was, in order for you to prove how much you love Molech, you would have to sacrifice your child. You would have to kill your own child. No different than the brothers and sisters in America who sacrifice their child for the sake of money. I want my career. I want to prove that I don't want anything to hinder me being president at the firm, to hinder me getting all these hours in, to hinder me being able to pay my bills. I will sacrifice my child to this God that we call money in America. I'm using money as an example, like Molech, right? But they would have to do is pass their children, create a big fire, right? And they would have to put their children in that fire to prove that they love Molech. That's what this God did. And the children of Israel caught on to it and started doing it left and right like it was the God of Israel. You following me, sis?
Okay.
All right. Now let's go to the script where you said. What was Genesis chapter 10? No, what was it?
That was it, sir. It was Leviticus chapter 18, verse 21.
Leviticus chapter 18. Let's go there. I just wanted to give you a little bit of backdrop on what was going on, who Molech was, how we end up following these other gods, how we supposed to dealt with them, right? Somebody give me verse 3 real quick. Leviticus 18 and 3. Yeah, brother, you the only one came to learn and participate tonight, I guess, man. You and Masha Moore. So just take off, man. I don't know what else we got going on. I teach the people who hear.
It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and verse 3. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do.
This is one of the main things. This is one of the main scripts I bring out to cut one of these so-called Kemet cats who said that the Bible is plagiarized from the walls in Kemet, right? Well, I asked them, where is this on the walls in Kemet? Leviticus chapter 18, after the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein you dwelt, shall ye not do. I know it don't say that in none of them texts. Do not do as the Egyptians are doing. Go ahead.
And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do.
Remember, Christ was saying, or it says in the New Testament, you are in the world, but not of the world. You are the Lord's chosen people. After the doings of the people of America, you shall not do. America teaches you to kill your children. America teaches you that pork is the other white meat, that it's okay to have 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 sexual partners sometime in the same bed with you. All types of immoral things that the children of Israel are not allowed to do. We're not allowed to be homosexual. We're not allowed to do the things that our oppressor does. All right? This is him telling us that all the way thousands and thousands of years ago, it still remains today. We in the land of America. He's saying don't do that. Don't be like them people. Go ahead.
Ye shall not do, neither shall ye walk in their ordinance.
Don't go by what they say is right and wrong. Go by what I tell you. Verse 4.
Ye shall do my judgment and keep my ordinance to walk therein. I am the Lord your God.
I am your power. I am your power, the Most High, your power. Not their power. Let them do what they doing, but you do what I'm telling you to do. All right. Now, what verse you said it was at, sis? 18?
Verse 21.
21.
18, verse
Now, he's telling you all the things not to do, all the way down from 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, how we don't deal with each other. They slept with brothers and sisters. They slept with each other. They slept with their mama and all these different things in these lands where they brought us out of. And he told us, don't do that. Why is the Lord making a big deal out of it? Because what they're doing is not the same thing that I want you to do. And then he goes into telling them everything. Now we get to verse 21. Go ahead and read verse 21. Mario, you there?
Verse 21. And thou shalt not let any other seed pass through the fire to Moloch. Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord.
Don't let none of your children be killed as a representation of your uh, allegiance to Molech. All right? I'm your power. I am your God. Don't profane my name to serve these other gods. It goes right into it right behind it. You shall not lie with mankind or womankind. It's abomination. All of these things were things that they were doing in Canaan and in Egypt, and that the Israelites started to do it, and the Lord gave laws that we didn't do that. So when it's saying pass your seed through the fire, it's talking about you actually killing your child to serve Molech. All right? You got it, sis?
I know, okay.
Okay, sir.
Go ahead.
Just dealing with the sister's question. I was just wondering because I was reading up on Molech as you were breaking it down with for, and I was saying, well, or where I'm at, it was saying according to Jewish tradition, the image of Molech was a brass hollow within, was situated without Jerusalem. His face was that of a calf, and his hand stretched forth like a man who opens his hands to receive something of his neighbor. And they kindled it with fire, and the priest took
Where you reading this from?
Like this, this was Eastern Bible Dictionary.
All right. What's your question? What's your question?
So like this, sir, I was just wondering, would that still be? Because I heard how you brought up Egypt. I was wondering, would that still be considered worshiping Molech, what the children of Israel did in the wilderness when they built that calf-like statues as well?
Similar. It was similar, but they wasn't passing their children through the fire when they built that calf. They built that calf as one of the gods, no different. You got a goat god, a cow god, all these different things that they would worship in Egypt as a form of worship. Molech was, if we read it through from the Bible dictionary, one of the gods of Ammon, which might have been similar in nature to a golden calf or something like that. If you Google it, they'll show you it's a big cow with his hands open like this. They make a big fire and you throw your kids in there and burn them up. And that's how you prove that you love Molech. You know what I'm saying? But all of these are just images that they have recreated based on the history of what they know about it. Whether it was like that or not, I wouldn't say that, because there's no speaking of them passing their kids through the fire in the wilderness when you talk about they created that golden calf. They created that to bow down to it and to worship it the way they do those idols in Egypt. All right, so it could be. I'm not sure on that. Just because I don't remember them passing kids through the fire in the wilderness like that. Not at that point in time. I would say, I have to do some more research on it, but I don't think so. But they are exact same. They both calves. They both idols. They both gods of the other nations. They both fake. They both have no power. So you could put them in the same category. No different than Diana and Asheroth. They two different places. One of them is Africa and one of them is Greece or Rome, and they the same god. You understand what I'm saying? Molech might have been a later version of the calf, but I'm not sure about that. All right. Any other questions? Go ahead.
So when it says don't sacrifice your children to Moloch, and it's similar as having an abortion or like the blood sacrifice, like Illuminati be doing.
I actually equate this to I made that example of the abortion, because now what you would have to do to prove that you are about your business, to prove that you about whatever is important to you. Let's say if you want to be a rapper, or you want to be a model, or you want to be a this and all of that, right? You would have to, if you decide that the Lord blessed, that woman with a seed, tell her, or she would have to decide to kill her child in order to prove how much she wants this money or this power or this fame or whatever the lie that they tell black people. You going to college. You don't got time for no baby right now. It's the same thing. You choosing a blessing from the Lord, a child, under you choosing a blessing from the world, or the opportunity or the thought of a blessing from the world, which is fake, is a facade, is not real, over a blessing from the Lord and Most High Power. All right. So I equated it to that. It's just me. It's just my way of trying to give you a more common term within today's life of people doing the same thing and killing their child in order to serve another God, when our God says you can't do that. You got it?
Like this, sir.
Go ahead.
If I may, sir, I hate to do it, but pretty much Dwayne Wade sacrificing his son, like changing the name from
you could use that as an example, to serve his Christian God that says everybody can be whatever they want to be. He would accept that. Alicia Keys, no different. They are all passing their children through the fire. And you can also use, dressing your kids up for Halloween or buying them Christmas gifts. You could use all that too. Giving them an Easter basket. All of that is the same thing. You basically destroying those children by allowing them to have or to worship another God, which means that the God of Israel will punish them or punish you for allowing that to happen at the end of the day. So yeah, you can use that too. I more so went to the one where you completely took their life, which is abortion, where we have lost more black and Hispanic people, more than AIDS, more than cancer, more than black on black crime, more than all those crimes put together. Abortion has taken more children out of this world, or more black people out of this world, than all of them put together. So I used that one. Any other questions?
Like it, sir.
Go ahead. Go. Whoever said it first, go ahead.
Yeah, God. Yeah, I actually just got out from the school, so I'm in the class. I don't have my sword and everything with me. I'm just getting home, so I'm just listening on the class and get the recording from the YouTube.
No sweat, trooper. Go ahead. Whoever said Salaki out there. Go ahead. You had a question?
I just want a clarification back on that Ecclesiastes chapter 25.
Ecclesiasticus. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. 25 and 26. You want me to read it, sir?
Yeah, go ahead. What's the question, though?
Just get some clarification on that. With dealing with wicked women.
Okay, this chapter, right? Let me make sure I get it. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Let me get there real quick. This chapter and the next chapter is this written by the same person who wrote Proverbs. Ecclesiastes, Salakia. This is Solomon, one of the wisest kings on the planet, and he's writing these things, right? Okay. When he's talking about what we at verse 24. Okay, so your question is what?
It's saying, for 26,
Yeah, that's a beautiful scripture right there, boy.
Yes. What happens the same coming into the truth, like what Mr. Sister Dream with?
All right, what you have to understand about this is somebody said something. All right, what you have to understand about this is when it happened and why it happened and why it's there. If you go back into the law, right? What Moses did was because brothers and sisters was not getting along and they was about to kill each other, having to stay together, he offered a way out. He gave brothers a way that if they if they was unhappy with their woman, she wouldn't listen to what he said. She had a loud mouth, this, that, or the other. What they could do is write them a bill of divorcement and say, I don't want to be with you no more. Go ahead and do your thing. You just go ahead, right? So then what happened is brothers started to do what brothers do now in the world. They meet a woman, sleep with her, meaning marry her, like at the club or something like that, and then they gonna put her on mute. They gonna block her on Facebook. They gonna not answer her phone calls. She'll never hear them again. They got what they wanted from the sister, but here's the problem: a woman is only supposed to be with one man forever, right? So you setting that sister up to go and commit adultery because she has no choice because the man that she laid with is not there anymore. So what happened is after this, Christ came and he explained the spirit behind the law of divorce. That it wasn't meant to be from the beginning. But here, this is a brother saying what the law is. This is a brother saying this is how it's supposed to be. Back then, a brother didn't have to put up with nothing from no woman. It says if he just found anything he ain't like about her, he could get rid of her. That's the law. But this is why Christ came to teach us the spirit behind the law. Because you could be following the law and you not understand it. That's not brotherly to do that to the sister. It's not brotherly. Right? Yeah, you can do it. But everything that's lawful is not expedient, is what Paul said. That don't mean you should do it just because you can. You can have 1,000 wives. That don't mean you're supposed to do it. Maybe you could barely control yourself. So how are you going to control 3 women, 2 women, 1 woman? Maybe you should just control yourself first. Everything that is lawful is not expedient. These things were before Yahushua explained how it was supposed to be to us. So when you're saying break it down, this is exactly what it was. At that time, if she go not as thou would have her, cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorce and let her go, and she is not your problem anymore. But let me tell you something. When we follow Yahushua, we are under the new covenant. We are under the New Testament, which is the same laws, but you got to understand the spirit behind it, right? All of the laws hinge on loving your brother and your sister and loving the Most High, right? You're not loving that sister just because she give you something you can't deal with. You just throw her away. That's not love. So Yahushua came back and explained it. Yeah, Moses did this for the hardness of your heart. But from the beginning, this was not so. So when you read this and it says that, this is exactly what it was. And that was at the time. But this is prior to Yahushua explaining to us the proper way to deal with marriage, divorce, and so on and so forth. This right here is easy. I could do that. I ain't got to deal with her no more. What Yahushua is saying is the same way the Lord was long suffering with you, the same way you went against the Lord and you wouldn't do nothing he said, and he still chose Israel, and he still maintained you, and he still redeemed you, is the same effort you got to give to a woman that belongs to you. You understand? Yeah. The law said we can get rid of them. Get on all of it. Yahushua said that, you know what I'm saying, it's unbrotherly to put a sister in that situation. What you should do is, as long as she does not commit an adultery, You should keep that sister out of the spirit of brotherhood. Fight her demons for her. Get them demons off of her. Check the hell out of her if you have to. But don't just put her away and make her go and sleep with another man. That's unbrotherly. You understand?
I understand, sir.
Go ahead. I know you got some more. Go ahead.
Well, no. It's just like, I mean, it's just, I'm just trying, I want to really change my life around, you know what I'm saying? So the things that, you know, ain't righteous or whatever, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't want to be around it, you know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. I guess I'm going to talk to you online, sir.
All right, let me explain something to you. Without you saying anything else, I would just add this to the equation, right? What I've learned in being in the truth and watching other brothers, right? When you fully change your life, you cannot expect that a woman is going to understand exactly what's happening to you or what's going on to you. It doesn't matter. Your job is to be an example and lead. Like I'm saying about Saul, if them men wanted to go and not do what the Lord said to do, his job is to correct and check them and make sure they do it. And if they won't do it, then he can say to the Lord, hey, I told them, and the Lord will punish them because they were given the word. With Adam, it's the same way with Eve. Eve went out and did whatever the hell she wanted to do, knowing her husband told her what the Lord said to do. He can't make her not do it, but what he can do is correct her and check her and put her in her place and make sure that she knows that the Lord is not pleased and I ain't pleased because I ain't pleased with what the Lord ain't pleased with, and not, you know what I'm saying, deal with it the same way. So what I'm telling you is, if what you're saying is you trying to come into the truth, and because your woman ain't with it, you can't leave her out. You can't. What you have to do is you have to come into the truth and change your life. And if you're doing what you're supposed to do, more than likely over time, a woman will follow you. And if she don't, that's on her. What it says in the New Testament, if the unbelieving desires to stay with you, meaning if she don't believe none of this Israelite stuff, but she want to be with you, stick with her. But if the unbelieving wants to leave, let her depart. All right, just so you know, in a class, in a class, 1 second before you say something. In a classroom setting, sometimes when I answer questions, I'm not necessarily only talking to the person who asked the question. I'm more so teaching everybody in the class. But go ahead with what you was about to say.
I mean, but I know her spirit ain't wicked.
Yours was too. Just be a leader. That's it. Just be a leader. I get evidence that it's a way that a man can live a righteous life by looking at the men above me. The leaders that I have, the men that lead me, they inspire me to do the right thing. Because the heart, meaning your mind, is wicked anyway, above all things. Really, you don't really want to do what the Lord say unless you got the Spirit of the Most High on you. That's the only way. He had mercy enough on you to choose you to put his Spirit in. That's the only reason you want to do it. But women don't, they, by nature, they're more so carnal by nature in their feelings and how they deal with things. And they supposed to be like that. That's how they're able to nurture and do all the things that we can't do. Your job is to be a soldier and stand for the truth and say, hey, we're not sinning. We're not doing this. And I don't care nothing about how you feel about it. That's your job. Once you do that, she'll either going to say, you know what? I hate this. I hate this nigga. I wish we could just go and eat shrimp and go to Red Lobster and smoke weed and chill together and do what we used to do. I don't want to be with him no more. Or she'll say, I better get my shit together. One of the two. Either way, you're going to do what you're supposed to do as a man. And because out in the spirit of brotherhood, the Lord reigns on the just and the unjust. You know how many times I done pulled this scripture to a man above me trying to get out of my responsibility. Verse 25, verse 26. I know it by heart. But we follow Christ. Do you understand? Should I take you till I tell you? Should I show you what Christ said? You want to know that? Or are you already familiar? All right, Most High Christ. Let's get it. Oh, man. He said, I think I need to hear it. That was the most honest answer I get. Anybody else got any questions? All right, cool. Give me 1 second. Give me Matthew chapter 5. I believe verse 30. Let me get there. Make sure. Nope. 19 and 3. Matthew 19 and 3. Somebody was already at Matthew 5 and 30? What did it say? Let me hear it real quick.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 30. And if thy right hand offend thee,
yeah, that ain't it. Matthew 19 and 3. I'm there. Go ahead, Mashamar.
Matthew chapter 19, verse 3. The Pharisee also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause?
These are the Pharisees, and their job was they were sitting in Moses' seat. They was the priest up under the Roman government. They put men up under the Roman government, under their authority, to basically babysit Israel. And what they used up under the Romans, they used the scriptures and the law of Moses in order to keep the children of Israel in line up under the Romans. This is what they did. So if you broke the laws of Moses, they would go ahead and give you the judgment and the punishment that Moses said, and they thought that they were righteous. However, they were breaking the laws of God themselves. So you'll see Christ throughout the New Testament, throughout the scriptures, battling these people who thought that they were so righteous and that they was keeping the laws of God. In reality, what they were was hypocrites. You'll hear Christ call them hypocrites 1,000,000 times. They pretending like they doing what the Lord say to do, and they holding other people up to the standard of following the laws, but they themselves are not doing it. All right, so these who is coming, and they said the Pharisees also came unto him. Came unto who? Who is the him? That's Yahweh Shai. Tempting him. That's all they was trying to do. Let me rile this nigga up. Let me see what he gonna say. Let me catch him up in his life. Some people come to class, they don't really want to learn. They're really just trying to find out if you know the answer to this question. A woman will come and say, hey, can a woman divorce her husband if he sleeps with another man? Or if he sleeps with another man's wife? It's like certain questions like that. They ain't really trying to learn. They don't want edification. They really want to trip you up in your speech. They really want to find out, is this really the truth? Right? Okay, so this is what the Pharisees is doing to Christ. Let me see how cold this nigga is. Let me ask him something like this right here. Because, see, they knew what the law was, and they were waiting for him to say something against or contrary to the law so that they could stone him for blasphemy, so that they can hang him for blasphemy. Everybody understand, right? All right, so the Pharisees came unto him, tempting him, saying, now keep in mind the spirit behind why they asking this question. They trying to catch him up. Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? According to the law that I just told you, Marcus, what's the answer? What's the answer?
I couldn't hear you. I got a call.
Okay, I'm trying to answer your question. I want to make sure you get it. You say you can't hear me?
Yes, they just drove past. I couldn't hear it just for that second.
Oh, okay. Matthew 19:3. The Pharisees came unto him, tempting him, saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? Based on what I just explained to you before we ever got here, what's the answer to that question?
No, sir, not for every cause.
Remember, I just told you, based on the law of Moses, all I had to do was say I was unhappy with my wife. I didn't like her. She didn't look like she used to look. And I could put her away. Right. So brothers was taking advantage of that law. Oh, yeah? We call it, you're the right to paper. Bitch be gone. Bitch be gone. Bye. Leave. Get out of here. I don't need you no more. Right? So what I'm telling you is they was trying to catch Christ up. They wanted him to say something contrary to the law so they can accuse him of blasphemy. The answer is, yeah, based on the law, you can. Let's see if he says no. Read verse 4.
And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh.
So he started quoting the scriptures, basically saying that you, coming from your mother and father as a family, are their son. You are their offspring. And at some point, you will go and be joined to a woman and create your own, and you and that woman shall become one. That's what he's saying. Go ahead.
Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh.
Now they ain't two people no more. They one. They one body. Right? Go ahead. Oh, and let me add to that. If you one body, you only got one head. Keep going now.
What therefore the power has joined together, let not man put asunder. They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away?
There it is right there. So hold on, wait a minute. If you saying these people supposed to be joined and they ain't never supposed to be apart, then why did Moses say that you could write a bill of divorcement? Why did Solomon reiterate it in Ecclesiasticus and say that you could just let her go on her own way? This is what they ask in Christ. Keep going.
He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives.
What's that word suffered mean? What was that word suffered mean? I suffer you to do this.
Like
allow. The Lord sometimes will allow you to do things, but that's not necessarily what he wants you to do. You follow me? Everybody else in the class following? All right. He said unto him, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, because you was going to kill that bitch if I ain't get her out your house, because you couldn't stand one more night, because she was going to stab you and pour hot grits on you and everything, I allowed you to put her away. Keep reading.
But from the beginning, it was not so.
This is not how it was supposed to be. This is not how marriage was supposed to go. But because y'all don't understand brotherhood because you so mean, because you only care about yourself, because you don't care about this woman, because the woman don't care about you. Everybody only care about their own feelings. I allowed it. Moses allowed it. But from the beginning, that ain't how it was supposed to be. Right? Verse 9.
And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whosoever marrieth her, which is put away, does commit adultery.
What he's saying is you're supposed to stay with that woman. That woman's supposed to stay with you. That's what God intended. Now, niggas is just doing the wife. At this point in time, niggas is doing the wife swap. Wife swap. I don't want her no more. Give me the new one. I don't want her no more. Give me the new one. That's not what the Lord intended. He didn't intend that for the woman or the man. Also, you got to remember, at this point in time, we're up under the Romans. The Roman law and Julian law and all of that was that you could have as many wives as you want, but you could only have one at a time. Which means if I met a new woman, oh, I like this new thing over here, and I got this woman that's been down for me, what would I have to do in order to marry this new woman under the Romans? Marcus?
You have to give her a bill of divorce, sir.
I would have to write her, get rid of her. Now, she ain't did nothing. I just like this new woman over here. Is that brotherly? I just get rid of this woman because I got another woman. And what am I causing her to do? If she's in love with me, I'm forcing her to go be with another man. I'm forcing her to go be with another man. She was only supposed to be with one man. So Christ put the spirit on it. He ain't changed the law. Yeah, technically, if you want to do it like that and follow the old covenant when we under the law of grace and mercy and all of this, and you expect the Lord to have that on you, but the first thing your woman do wrong, you like, she wicked. Nigga, we wicked. What you talking about? What you talking about, huh? And I say to you that whoever shall put away now, the only way you have to give that woman up is if she deals with another man, meaning she has given herself to another man. She has committed adultery. That land is defiled. You don't go back to her. That's when you will get rid of her. And she already got another husband. You ain't forced her to do nothing. She went and did it. She sinned against the Lord. She got another man. That's when you let her go. Now, if you do it for any other reason, just because you got another one, just because you like this other woman, or just because you mad at her because she pissed you off because she didn't do what you said, you are forcing that woman, you taking her head off, you chopping her head off and leaving her without the hedge of protection that the Lord already gave her, which is you. And you running away from responsibility, and it's not brotherly. This is what Christ is saying. So what Christ is saying, if you leave a woman and marry another one just to marry another one, you're causing her to commit adultery. And therefore, you're committing adultery. What you're supposed to do is keep them both. That's what he's saying. And whosoever marrieth her who is put away, meaning, you know what I'm saying, at that point in time, brothers wasn't putting women away because they sinned or because they did anything wrong. They just putting women away really because me and my wife got in an argument. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't talking to her right now. Another brother go and marry her. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about we ain't never going to speak again. Because think about it. For the most part, every relationship, you'll have people that'll say, well, I ain't never going to talk to you again. A woman will say that all the time. And then a month later, 6 months later, they back together. That's why we have the 6-month rule in the school. It's a woman you'll meet and you'll say, sis, you married, you got a husband? She'll say no. She really just had sex like 2 days ago. Sex ain't marriage to her. Nashak, you in the class? Yamayan, you in the class? All right, Shakar, you might be on the announcements tonight, all right? You still got a lot of noise?
I can do the announcements.
All right, go ahead and pull it up for me. Now, and I say, whoever shall put away his wife except for fornication shall marry another, committeth adultery, and whosoever marrieth her that is put away shall commit adultery. This means just a woman who is separated from her husband. This is not a man who is completely bailed and went AWOL on his responsibility. So right now, we're under American law and all of that. You know what I'm saying? You could write a woman a bill of divorcement. There's plenty of people that got divorces based on paper and they still sleep with each other. I know people that's been married and divorced multiple times, the same person, because they think that piece of paper or whatever the case may be can control the situation, when in reality it's all spiritual. It's all spiritual. That's why you give a woman time to see whether or not she wants to go back with her husband before you just swoop in like, oh, he let her go. She mine now. he let her go. He's slipping. That's a nigga in the world. A nigga in the truth is going to allow her to be mad and upset and all of this other stuff and to say, I don't never want to see him again, and to get over it. And if he calls, and you know what I'm saying, we usually say 6 months to a year is a good enough time for you to figure out whether or not that woman and her husband is still together, whether they separated or whether he has completely divorced her. You understand?
My reason for asking the question is
Marcus, you heard me? Oh, I just asked, did you understand?
Yes, sir. I understand. My reason for asking is a little different. It ain't even being up. I really want to deal with the situation, right? Can I just be blunt, sir?
I mean, this is the home of the truth.
Well, I mean, I was dealing with her before I came into the truth. So, you know what I'm saying? She's a woman that likes women, and she don't see nothing wrong with that as long as I'm the only man she dealing with. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, that's still fornication. That's still adultery if you're laying with another person, right?
I would tell you to seek counsel. I would say this right here. Now you're in the truth. You know the truth. Once you present the truth to a woman, you allow them the same opportunity you had to change their life and to come in the truth and follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Here's the thing when it comes to sex, right? Okay, sex is forever. Sex is not something that you just can do and then pretend like it never happened. And in the world and in America, we can't. So like right now, I can forgive my woman if I come into the truth and she can still want to smoke cigarettes, or she still want to eat pork or eat shrimp or something like that. I can forgive her because I'm still waiting on her to get it together. But the moment she allows anybody to have something that belongs to me, then I can't trust her anymore. And therefore, it is my responsibility and obligation to allow her to go be in the world and be with the people that she lies with. Your body is the temple of God. It's more important than all the other things. You understand what I'm saying? There's brothers in here that might have murdered somebody or did something, and the Lord is willing to forgive them from that. But at the end of the day, sex is marriage. Sex is something that is to death, and we teach that here. And you should teach that woman that. And the moment she does not, according to what the Lord said to do, then she falls up under this category. Except, here's the only way you can get rid of her. Except it be for fornication. A man dealing with another man, a woman dealing with another woman is fornication. It's unlawful sex. Now, it would be up to you, because it's not another man, whether or not you want to keep her or not, but I definitely would not. And that's something that you can get counsel on, all right? All right. With that, I pass the class over to Priest and Officer Shakar. Yo, you had a question?
down. But
Why you always wait to 9:15 to ask your question? Now, go ahead. What's the question?
yeah, Romans chapter 6, verse 7 through 12. This scripture breaks down.
What's your question? What don't you understand about Romans chapter 6?
I don't understand how that is speaking like a metaphor, but it's not. Is it a physical death or is that spiritual, like spiritual?
All right, go ahead and read it real quick.
Romans chapter 6, verse 12. For he that is dead is freed from sin. Now, if we be dead with Christ,
that's verse 6.
Believe.
That's verse 7. You said 12. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
7 through 4.
Go ahead.
Now, if we be dead with Christ, we believe that we shall also live with him, knowing that Christ, being raised from the dead, dieth no more. Death hath no dominion over him. For in that he died unto sin once. But in that he liveth unto God. Likewise, reckon ye yourselves to be dead indeed unto sin, but alive unto God through Yahushua, Mashiach our Lord. Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that you should obey in the lust thereof.
All right. So, this is talking about life and death. What is life according to the scriptures? Life is the blessings of keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and the things that come along with it. The promises, being the children of the Most High, being in rulership, being over it. Death is the curses that come along with not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. It's not literally talking about, like when it's talking about being born again, you ain't going back in your mother's womb. What you're deciding to do is to do what the Lord told you to do from the beginning. And because of Christ, we are offered another opportunity to do that, where we all deserve death. Scripture say all our righteousness is as filthy rags. The precept for this would be Deuteronomy 30 and 19. Give it to me, Bakwash. Also another precept that we're not going to read, Deuteronomy 28 and 1, where it says, if you'll do this, then all these blessings will come. Right? Deuteronomy 28 and 15 say, if you don't do this, then all these curses will come upon you. Those curses are death. It's not talking about you literally dying. And think about it, if you do literally die, your spirit comes back on the earth as another person anyway. So how could that be like the worst thing that happened to you? What we're talking about is you being born into judgment. You being born again, back on this earth again, and having all these curses that the Lord said coming upon your life. You got the scripture I asked for?
Yes, ma'am. Deuteronomy chapter 31.
Chapter 30 and verse 19.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death.
What?
Blessing and
I have set before you what?
Life and death.
Now, is he talking about literally you dying? Could be, because the wages of sin is what, Bakwash?
Yeah.
You got to pay for something with your life, or with the life of a goat, or with the life of a dove, or with the life of a sheep, or with the life of something. Well, Yahushua gave his life for that what you deserve to die for. Something has to die for you sinning, right? Most of the time it's going to be you. Well, when Moses broke down all these laws, statutes, and commandments that the Lord gave, he said, I present to you life and death. Keep reading.
Life and death, blessings and cursings.
The life is the blessings. The life is the blessings. The death is the cursing. The life is the blessing that comes along with keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. That's why Christ said, the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy, but I have come that you may have life meaning you're going to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and you're going to have it more abundantly, meaning you're going to get the blessings that the Lord promised you that you will get if you follow it. You follow me, Bukwash? All right, keep going. Start from the top. Read it again.
I call, verse 19, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live.
Do what the Lord said to do. Keep these laws, statutes, and commandments so that you and your sons and your daughters can get the blessings of the Most High. This is what it's talking about in Romans. Now that you understand what life is and what the death is, I'm going to read it again for you. Romans chapter 6, verse 7. For he that is dead is freed from sin. You have to kill off the old man, that disgusting nigga you was before you came in the truth. We want him to die. That disgusting bitch you was before you came, we want her to die.